sons and daughters.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Aurora Smedley podcast, where I speak with you about what the world needs to hear. And in today's podcast, I'm going to be going deeper into the idea of a quantum leap and how this will show up for you in your life when you experience one. Because a quantum leap can actually be very disorienting. I spoke the other day about spiritual awakening processes, and I went into this discussion about the quantum leap, but I wanted to go a bit further, and I actually have a diagram to show you all so that you can understand what you're going through and how to get to the other side of that. So people really like to talk about this quantum leap idea, and it really sounds pretty frou-frou or woo-woo, but I will say that I have experienced this over and over again in my life so many times that it's pretty much a science at this point, and I've definitely seen it occur in other people's lives as well on a regular basis. So this is not, even though the quantum terminology can sound kind of pseudoscience, the actual experience of it is replicable all the time. It's something that you will see on the regular in your own life and with other people, that this is what happens. So this is what a quantum leap looks like. And I know some of you guys are only going to be listening to this in audio. I do highly recommend you check this out on YouTube or on Spotify. You can change the settings to see the actual video. But I'm going to do my best to explain this for the audio listeners, but this is going to be a more visual podcast. So here is what a quantum leap looks like. And I'm just going to go over this with you, and then I'm going to start going into greater detail about what all of this is. So at the beginning of a quantum leap, you are in your home reality, right? This is the you that lives in the current reality you live in, with the current set of people that you're around, the current job that you have or income that you have, the current place that you live in, your current income level, your current body, your current whatever. And this is the next reality above you that has you living in it with likely a different friend group, a different job, maybe a different relationship, different body, perhaps a different fashion sense, a different tastes, and all of this stuff. So the point is that there is a reality here, reality one, that is your home reality. And there's a reality two that you're being called to, which is a different reality. This reality has a different set of characters, scenes, a different avatar for you, and different clothing for your avatar. It's just like in a video game. When you graduate from one level of the video game and you go to another level of the video game, your character might change outfits, or you might even have different characters around you, different scene, etc. This is because you're in the video game of life. So there's 4 phases that I'm going to talk about right now. I guess before the quantum leap happens, you are in your home reality and you are just doing fine. Then the first phase is the breakdown. And in the breakdown phase is when everything falls apart. The next phase is this thing that I will call the void. And this is where all of the exciting stuff happens. At this point, you're going to be afraid. You're probably going to feel fear and worry. And then at some point, things are going to shift and you're going to start taking aligned action towards the reality that you want to live in, even if you don't necessarily know what that reality is yet. And then finally, you're going to end up in this reality here. However, I will say that things can fail. It's possible that if you do not do the work at this point, you will simply stay in this reality, or you will have some ultimate breakdown, or you'll kind of reconstruct this reality in a different way, right? But in general, when this breakdown happens, you are being called to this reality and you are going to take the actions necessary in order to create this reality around you. So I'm going to point out one other thing here, and that is that there is a gap between when the first reality ends and the next reality materializes in the physical world, right? Because the thing is that there are infinite parallel realities, right? And it sounds like this is just whatever, but the multi-universe version of reality is actually the best scientific understanding that we have of reality right now. Multi-universe hypothesis is a thing. But what you don't realize is that you have the agency to move between multiple universes, right? So what I'm saying here is that here, your former reality has completely destroyed and your new reality has not yet appeared. And so now you are in this interim period where things are very confusing. Your entire former reality has ended. This has disappeared. You have fallen off the cliff and the new thing hasn't arrived yet. That is scary as hell. So this period is actually the most critical part of the quantum leap because this is where all the work happens. This is where you bring faith into the situation. This is where you bring courage into the situation. This is where you inject certainty in the situation. This is when you take action towards the other reality, even if you don't know what that other reality is yet. You just start making movement towards this reality and have faith that the universe is going to meet you in that process. The first period of this process breakdown, right? So this is your former reality and then everything falls apart. It's like you fell off a cliff. And as you can see, I highlighted here to indicate that there's a cliff here. There's a cliff and you've fallen off this cliff. And now you seem to be free falling. In this moment here, you are in free fall. Everything is destroying around you. Perhaps you got fired, you lost your relationship, you lost all your money, you lost all your friends. None of your friends love you anymore. Everybody hates you, perhaps. Nothing seems to be going right. Everything has completely imploded for whatever reason. Perhaps you had a crisis. Perhaps you had a near-death experience. Perhaps you lost a loved one. You don't know, but this is a point of breakdown where you seem to be in free fall because your former reality concept has completely deteriorated. And as this experience happens, you will typically try to be holding on to your former reality. So at this point, the spiritual practice is to let go and surrender. At this point, you need to surrender to the free fall, surrender to the loss, surrender to the letting go, right? At this point, you need to this is a tower moment and it's time for you to let go, right? So in every part of this process, there is a reactive way of responding to it, and there is the more constructive or spiritual way of responding to it. And when you respond to it in a more constructive way, it speeds up the process of the new reality materializing. So the first part here, right? We want to hold on. We want to grip on. We want to hold on to our former reality with a death grip, right? Because heaven forbid that we lose what we have. Right? This is a period of grief. This is a period of resistance. This might be a period of denial. When the breakdown happens, there's all of these spirals of feelings because you are holding on to the former reality. So the antidote to this is bringing surrender into the situation, bringing surrender, letting go of what was. That is the practice in that part of this process, right? So now that you have let go, you've surrendered, and the whole cataclysmic breakdown has happened, the next step is, and usually at this point, there's a moment where it's like the moment after the storm, the moment after the breakdown, the moment after the fire, the moment after everything has disappeared, right? And at this point, there's this peace, there's this silence, but also it's terrifying because now everything is destroyed and you're kind of sitting in the rubble, and maybe things are quiet, things have settled down at this point, but you have nothing and you don't really know how to continue or whether you're going to get to that next reality that is your next level. Okay? And so this is a period where you can feel fear and worry. And this is where you can be tormented by your inner fear, your panic, your paralysis, right? And this is where you need to inject trust. You need to inject courage into the situation. You need to inject certainty into the situation. Because no matter how bad it has gotten for you, this is it. This is you doing it. This breakdown is your breakthrough. This is the thing, right? It's not when you get to the awesome life that it's the thing, right? It's all your life, right? The breakdown is the thing. The fear is the thing. The painful moment beforehand is the thing, right? And when you get to the next reality, that's awesome. It feels very relieving and nice and everything, right? But this moment after everything has been destroyed, this means that you're going to your next level. This means that you are being asked to rise. So it's this point. This is the moment of opportunity. And now you are very, very much into the void, right? You've fallen off the cliff. Everything's been destroyed. And now you're at this period of what the F? I don't know what to do, right? And this is where you inject that courage. You inject trust. You inject faith. And you allow the silence to do its work on you, because this is all happening for your highest good. This is your highest self calling you to up level. So the next stage, and the reason why, by the way, the reason why I use these words here, grief, worry, anger, and joy, is that these words are actually aligned with something in traditional Chinese medicine known as 5-element theory. And 5-element theory essentially points to the fact that during different energetic stages, we experience different emotions. So the emotions that we are experiencing are actually a reflection of what process we are going through energetically at that time. And there's no right process, right? There's no right one. It just shows you where you are in this cycle, because guess what, guys? This doesn't happen once. This happens over and over, right? Every single time that you're going to go through a massive up level, you're going to experience. This is not like a one-time thing. But anyway, so now you've injected courage and faith into the situation. And now you're going to get these whispers of communication from the universe. You're going to get inklings about what you should do now. Now that you are in the void, you are very much in the void, you are in this gap, you have lost everything, you don't really know what you're doing, you maybe have this kind of what the fuck moment, or I'll just do whatever at this point because I have no idea what's going on. And you just start taking aligned action. And I will point out that anger and aligned action, they're both coming from the same energetic source. And the energetic source is this directed movement. The anger is perhaps the negative or more reactive response to that energy, but the same energy takes place in aligned action. Aligned action is the antidote to anger. Aligned action is the constructive version of anger. And anger can be helpful in creating movement, but as you become more self-aware and develop your own internal alchemy better, then the anger starts to become aligned action rather than anger. So at this point, you start taking aligned action and you just start to create movement that is in alignment with the person that you want to be. The person that you want to be in your new reality, right? And I will point out too, at this point, some people have the tendency to work really hard and use this as a way of suppressing your emotions, right? You need to still stay connected to who you are. You stay connected to what is going on for you, but you just take aligned action. And at this point, the universe will flow in to support you. This is not a one-sided process. This is you making movement, and the universe will start to support you in this process. And then as the universe supports you in this process, you are up-leveling, you don't even realize it. And then suddenly, boom, reality 2 appears and you're just in it. And you're like, wait, what happened? How did I suddenly end up here, right? Suddenly you're living in a new house. Suddenly you're living in a nicer place. Suddenly you're making more money. Suddenly you're in a better relationship. Suddenly the things that you like are different. Suddenly you have different tastes in what you like to wear. It's like you went from one reality to another reality where your avatar is different. What your avatar is wearing is different. The characters around you are different. The goal of the game is different, right? This is the void, is the space between 2 levels of the video game when your next level is loading. This is the loading screen between 2 levels of your life video game. So in this point, when the next level is loading, you don't freak out. You trust that the next level is being constructed and that the computer of the universe is downloading your next level already, that this already exists and it's simply waiting. You're simply in this waiting room while the next level constructs itself. So I've gone in great detail about what the quantum leap process looks like, what you will experience emotionally during this process, and what you can kind of expect as the end result of this process, right? And so I really hope that this is supportive for you in any quantum leap that you're experiencing right now. And I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast.